So over the past couple months, MrBeast has been in a lot of controversy, with one of his most recent ones being a controversy collab with problematic YouTubers like KSI and Logan Paul. And what they did here is pretty despicable. Releasing Lunchly, a Lunchables competitor that will feature prime Feastables chocolate and a variation of food. Twitter had some very colorful opinions on this announcement. Plain Rock said, "We'll make kids more retarded." Lonely Goomba says, "Wow. More subpar cheaply made shit with YouTuber branding on it." Selma says, "I've always said a healthy lunch consists of prime, Feastables, and a variation of food. This is lunch made for brains, not taste." Fire emoji. Jacktoon69 says, "I wouldn't consume anything tied to Logan Paul." Doof Inc. says, "We will not be buying." Savage Studios says, "This will definitely be less healthy than Lunchables." Trey says, "This is like a tag team trio of shady businessmen releasing a refrigerated kids meal. I don't know if KSI is bad, but the other two?" Moose says, "You gonna have to take a loan out to afford this." KSI promoted the product on his Twitter with the caption "Lunchly baby." Andrew Tate responds, "KSI must have been to India recently. That isn't a toilet." Rory Sanut says, "This isn't lunch. None of it is lunch. You are poisoning these kids. You could literally market anything healthy or beneficial successfully. Do better." The Savior says, "How about you actually do something beneficial to the children instead of poisoning them with this crap?" Plainrock124 says, "Child labor and childhood obesity." Free Agent says, "This is unhealthy for you guys. Don't consume." Real Razzie says, "I know for a fact everything in that box is horrible for your health, including Prime." This announcement also got a lot of quote retweets, like this one from Pink Sheep who says, "Forget Lunchly, what variation of pink lunch you getting?" Showing a bunch of mock-ups of his own Lunchables, with Mountain Dew and Doritos included in every variation. Cow says, "You will watch my slop, eat my slop, and drink my friend's slop until you get fat and die." Rosanna Pizzino says, "A few years ago, I backed out of an 8-figure deal with Walmart because we couldn't make the food with as good of ingredients as I wanted. Organic, no preservatives, etc. at the scale needed. People like MrBeast, KSI, and Logan Paul absolutely could, and yet they choose to do this. Says everything you need to know." Shirley says, "Variation of food, red flags." Logan Paul's podcast co-host Mike Mailjack then responds by saying, "Yeah, nothing screams red flag like options." Smoke responds, "Be honest, bro. You never eating this or feeding your kids this." Mike responds, "You can't be serious, lol." Hypno quote tweets KSI and says, "Me trying to make it to the second period class running on a Lunchly and 4.1245324 minutes of sleep." But all of those quote retweets paled in comparison to the slam dunk that DanTDM gave when he quote tweeted this and said, "What happened to YouTubers, man? I can't not say anything anymore. This is selling stuff for the sake of making money. Simple. How does this benefit their fans? This is selling crap to kids who don't know better than to trust the people who are selling it to them. Do better." Squiddy responds by saying, "Why not teach kids healthy eating habits? They are comparing their product to Lunchables, which in itself is highly processed crap. None of them are passionate about health towards fans, only their wallets. So disappointing." Penny Panda says, "The OG has spoken." Silence, noobs! The diamond minecart is talking. Ethan Flav says, "They probably taste absolutely awful too." Aaron says, "It's a wildly terrible meal too. A drink with basically zero nutrients other than electrolytes. A kid shouldn't need if they have a balanced diet. A chocolate bar, which I don't need to explain, and a tiny morsel of actual food that's got nothing in it." BGTV says, "As someone that eats healthy on the regular, I can't condone this as a meal for children. Hashtag real food." Parker says, "I usually defend MrBeast as he usually uses his money for the greater good. However, it reaches a point. He has a burger chain and chocolate bar line. This isn't something that's needed. We have Lunchables already. Those aren't different in the slightest. Sad to see what his brand is devolving into." Dorian Scott responds, "You do know that MrBeast has hired some really shady people to work with him, right? He literally hired a registered sex offender." Parker responds, "I was not aware." Thanksia responds to DanTDM by saying, "My man." Dirt3 says, "Selling energy drinks to kids is crazy." Jojo Saya says, "They always promote it like, it's healthy, too. Lol." Royal Bobby 24 says, I wouldn't consume anything tied to Logan Paul, honestly speaking. Why You Should Have a Raccoon says, cook them frauds! Ty the Deliverminator says, now that I think of it, Dan and a few others were one of the few that never had any in-video advertisements. They built themselves off of good content alone. Char says, Common Dan W. Snitter says, I'ma be tasting the plastic in this, bro. KSI then quote tweets DanTDM with some pictures of his merch and says, looks like crap to me. KSI's tweet also gets community noted with it saying, not only has KSI worked with them before, the CEO of U2's Austin Long got his start by managing the Sidemen and was an exclusive producer on their YouTube Red show. And for those of you who don't know, the Sidemen is a collaboration channel which was founded by and prominently features KSI. Jake Buckley responds by saying, with all due respect, bro, you have a U2's too. KSI then responds, I'm not the one complaining and crying on Twitter though? You missed the point. Diego responds, you missed the point of the post. Advertising unhealthy products to your young impressionable fans, while you yourself wouldn't go near that stuff. FGTV says, comparing junky food to a collectible is crazy. You smarter than that, bro. Silent Tree says, you really thought you cooked with this. ASC says, beefing with DanTDM is crazy. Titan says, weak response. A toy isn't bad for your health. Kuma responds with a picture of the Lunchly promotion image and says, what about this, KSI? Is this healthy for kids? Memesmate says, same, showing a picture of KSI's hair in a bun. Red says, KSI, this you? Showing a picture of him next to what looks like a Roblox face. Midas says, you wish you could make merch this good. Bob the Minion says, bello, you made some too? Sir Snipey says, damn, didn't realize kids eat toys. Why You Should Have a Raccoon says, you also got one of them, little bro, showing one of the many KSI U2s. Aaron says, you are 45 years old, can't smile in photos, wear a bandana to hide your hairline, and use your platform to sell junk food to kids. You absolute whopper. 60404 says, bro beefing with DanTDM. Ryan Silva says, comparing a combo meal of a drink that falsely advertises its ability to hydrate and highly processed snacks to a toy for kids to play? Okay. Moose says, ratio plus respect DanTDM. Sundog says, you have your very own U2s. Are you shitting on your own product? Selma says, owning my opponent by bringing up his products and not defending my own. Scott says, forgot that you eat toys. But KSI wasn't the only person to respond to DanTDM, as Logan Paul did when he says, I'll tell you what happened to YouTubers. We spent our lives creating content and building our brands. Now we want to build businesses. You don't say anything when Lunchables faces bans for allegedly containing lead, but when we create a better version, you are upset? Then don't eat it. This tweet also gets community noted, with the note saying, Prime Hydration LLC was filed against DAT for including lead on 3 separate occasions, with the third being on March 24th of 2024. Commenting on Lunchables lead findings while including a drink also known to have lead inside a meal pack is very hypocritical. So while I was editing this video, I had to go back to this tweet to get a screenshot where I click show more because I forgot to. And when I did that, there was actually a new community note replacing the old one that now says, misleading, in saying Lunchables faces bans for allegedly containing lead, and that they created a better version. It implies Lunchly doesn't contain lead. The Ice Prime Hydration found in the turkey stackums also has reports of lead contamination from the ERC. Logan then follows up his tweet with a screenshot of an article talking about the lead in Lunchables products. If you want to read the full thing, go ahead. But moving on to the replies to Logan Paul, Willie Mac Show says, there is nothing wrong with producing a product people like and making money off it. I don't get these people. Curtis Lepore says, mogged. Evil fucking skeleton quote tweets Logan Paul and says, a real man never speaks ill of DanTDM. And then the CEO of Valve, the creator of Steam, Gabe Newell, quote tweeted Logan Paul and said, you are a joke. Profile CS responds, idiot, just fix CS. And then Gabe Newell responds, get better. Serious Business Detective says, quiet please, Gabe is speaking. TGD says, I'm going to pretend the real Gabe Newell said this from this day forward. Yeah, I tricked you guys, maybe. I don't know if you guys were tricked, but it isn't the real Gabe Newell, it's just a parody, but I don't think Gabe Newell will be eating Lunchly anytime soon. Now, why am I bringing this up when this is about a month-old drama? Well, number one, I'm really behind on drama. For those of you who've been following this channel as of late, I took a big break. But more importantly, why I want to cover this now is because there is still drama to this day between KSI and DanTDM off of this quote retweet that he made. Despite DanTDM not saying anything, KSI and Logan Paul have continued to maul and cope about their new lunchly. So we will be covering all of that in part 2, so don't forget to subscribe with notifications on. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I hope to see you in the next one.